Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Miriam and I love everything about books. In 2021 I challenged myself to read 365 books and every week I post a weekly wrap-up video. Before I continue with this video, I want to apologize for any noise you might hear on the background. We have like a storm and the weather is very strange. Then it rains and then the sun comes in, so it might also affect the light in the video. I'm sorry for that. I'm trying to do the best I can, but there's a second thing I should say, and that's health-wise I'm not having the best of times at the moment. Well, to be honest, that this has been going on for a really long time, but only like in the past week I sort of admitted that it's not very great. I went to the doctor. They're going to look into it, what might be wrong. It might be post-COVID things, but it might also be something to do with celiac disease, because celiac disease is an autoimmune disease and you are more likely to get other autoimmune diseases, or whether it's something completely different. So they're going to sort it out. I'm trying to make these weekly wrap-up videos, but if I skip a week, don't worry, that's probably because I'm too tired to film a video. The sort of good part about it, if you can say there's a good part to not feeling well, is that I spend a lot of time in my bed with a book, so I'm no longer behind on my challenge. I'm actually ahead a bit at the moment. I read 9 books in the past week and I'm going to show them to you in this video. If I say the past week in my weekly wrap-up video, I mean the books I read from Saturday till the next Friday. So in this video I'm going to talk to you about the books I read from Saturday the 6th of March until Friday the 12th of March. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first book I finished in the past week was Seeing Other People by Gayle. This is not a very old book by Gayle. I mean, he has been a writer for quite some time, but it is an older book. It was published in 2014, I believe. It was not as good as the other books I've read by Gayle. Let's just put it at that. It's about this guy called Joe, and one morning he thinks he has got a blow on his head, but he wakes up in a bed next to someone who's not his wife. It was very heartbreaking, but for some reason this book reminded me of a song by the Christian contemporary band Casting Crowns, a song called Slow Fade. And if you've read this book and know that song, then you might understand what I'm talking about, but I didn't think the chances are very big that anyone else has read this book and also listened to that song. If so, let me know. The next book I read was Before We Were Yours. Although I listened to the audiobook, I have been listening to it for an entire week and I finished it on Saturday the 6th. So yeah, that's why it's included in this week's weekly wrap-up video, but it's been a while since I started this book. That's about 2 weeks ago, or even longer. I remember I started this one on my birthday, so on the 26th of February. This was a heartbreaking book as well, about adoption in the 30s and 40s of the previous century, and about all the things that went wrong in America with them. And it was a great historical read, and it has a dual timeline. I would definitely recommend this book. It was a great read. It always feels a bit strange to say something was a great read if you listen to it, but you get what I mean. Next came Days of Wonder by Stewart. I wanted to read this book in February. It was on my February TBR, but I didn't get to it because it was so big, and in February I was behind on my challenge, so I did not read it. I did read it this week, and it's about there are like 2 main characters, 2 perspectives, a father and a daughter. The daughter has a heart condition and the dad is a single dad, and he is the theatre manager, and they are trying to save the theatre. And this book takes place in 2005, although it was written or published in 2018. So that was a bit confusing sometimes, but on the other hand, it was great to see that people tried to save the theatre. That was actually one of the main themes of the book, saving the theatre, saving stories, because stories can save lives. And I do agree with that. The storyline sometimes was a bit cliches, and the language wasn't always that great, but on the other hand, I really like the message about stories that can save lives. The next book I read was To the Moon and Back by Kingsbury. I've read a lot of her books, and this is a newer book, I think, and it's also in the Baxter series Kingsbury wrote, and I don't know how to say this, but nowadays I read books by Kingsbury just because I want to know what happens to the characters, but not because I consider the stories very good. These last stories by Kingsbury, her newer books, feel very off of what she used to write, so I do not really like it, because I know she can do it. I mean, her earlier books have great messages about redemption, forgiveness and things like that, and now it feels a bit more that it's more for entertainment than for learning things from it. And I feel a bit bad about that. But I will continue reading her books because I just want to know what happens to the characters. So next came a middle grade series. It consists of 4 books, but I read the first 3 books because the 4th book wasn't available for free on Kobo Plus. But it's a Dutch original, and it's called The Ministry of Solutions. I think you can translate the title by that. And this was such a fun read. It's about children who discover like a mystery, that there used to be a ministry of solutions worldwide, and also one in the Netherlands, but it was shut down because of things that happened, and then the children want to restart the Ministry of Solutions, and generally it means that they help people, and they do this anonymously. They have to help everyone, so not just people they like, but everyone, and I think that's really a great message for children. I think it's for 10 plus, something like that, and I enjoyed those books too. And as a bonus, they weren't very long books, they had like 200 pages, so that was great for my challenge. I'm really curious about the 4th book as well, but so I'll wait until it's available. So the 8th book I read was also a Dutch original in the Duiventil series. I mentioned this in a previous weekly wrap-up video that I'm reading 1 book of this series every month, and this month it was the 2nd book, and I'm not going to translate all these titles because the title usually says something like the Duiventil and something happens, and they have all these expressions for it, but so this was a reread, and it actually made me want to read the 3rd book as well, but I have to wait for another month until I can read that one, because the 3rd one has always been my favourite in the series. But I really enjoyed this one as well. There's a storm and a tree falls on the house, so it was very appropriate to read it these last few days, because we are having a terrible storm at the moment. Luckily no trees have fallen on our house yet. So the last book I read in the past week was Flirt by Lisette van der Heg, a Dutch original as well. And this may seem like an ordinary romance novel, but it's not. It's actually about a marriage, and how do you save a marriage that has been damaged by, in this case, adultery. Is it possible to save a marriage after that? And it is such a gripping book, and I don't know if I can find the right words why everyone should read this book. I mean, I can't find the right words in Dutch, so I will probably not be able to find the right words in English as well. I would say I would recommend this book to anyone, but yeah, since it's only available in Dutch, that's not possible. But on the other hand, there are some books by this author that have been translated into different languages. I believe her debut was translated into German, and maybe if I recommend this book to anyone, it can be translated into English as well, so everyone can read this. It has a great writing style, it's very easy to read, but on the other hand you feel that this theme is very important. So yeah, and I think I consider this book my favourite of the week, next to Before We Were Yours, because I also enjoy that story. But I have a sort of feeling that I read that book in a previous week, not in this week, even though I finished it this week. I hope you enjoyed this video, even though it was a bit different than my other weekly wrap-up videos, because I hope it's because of the week I had, and that next week will be better. If you want to follow me on my journey where I read 365 books in a year, then consider subscribing to my channel. And as always, happy reading!